Kia ora koutou. In this video lesson, we're going to go over a probability tree patai involving a teacher marking a very large number of test papers. Starting off, we see that there are a few probabilities given. If the probability that a boy takes the test is 0.55, the remaining amount, which are girls, those two have to add to 1, so 0.45. The probability of a boy passing the test is 0.6, so we need to find the value for failing that would get it adding up to 1, which would be 0.4. And if the girl's probability of passing is 0.7, then the girl probability of failing is 0.3. Now, as we go along the branches, so the probability of a boy and passing, we know that the word and in probability means to multiply. So we take our 0.55 times 0.6, 0.33. Now, this outcome here would be failing and also a boy. So 0.55 times 0.4 gives us 0.22. Same thing down here, 0.45 times 0.7 to get that outcome, and 0.45 times 0.3 for this one. Now that we've got all those probabilities, we're going to use those to answer the patai. So calculate the probability that a paper belongs to a boy who fails the test. Well, how many of these 4 outcomes are a boy who failed the test? Just that one. So that's the answer. Next one. Calculate the probability that a paper belongs to a girl who failed the test. So once again, I'm asking, of these 4 outcomes, which ones are a girl who failed the test? Just that one, 0.135. Moving on, calculate the probability that a paper belonged to a boy. Well, these 2 outcomes are a boy. If we add those together, we get 0.55, which is exactly the same number as here. So either recognizing that there is the probability of a boy or adding these 2 together, same thing. Next one, calculate the probability that a paper belonged to a student who failed the test. Once again, we're going to go back and ask the same question. Which of these outcomes are somebody who failed the test? 0.22 plus 0.135, which gives us 0.355. Next one. Calculate the probability that a paper belonged to if 1,600 students sat the test, how many failed? First thing we need is, what's the probability that somebody failed the test? Well, that was the answer from our last patai. So if that's the probability that one person failed the test and 1,600 sat the test, multiply those 2 together, we would use 568. Next one, calculate the probability that a paper belonged to either a girl or a student who failed the test. So there we need the probability of a girl who failed divided by the probability of a person who failed, and that gives us, easier way. Looking at these outcomes, if we're looking for either a girl or a student who failed the test, what's the probability that we have a girl? 0.45, and a boy who failed, 0.22. So we just add those together, 0.45 plus 0.22, 0.67. Lastly, calculate the probability that a paper belongs to a boy who passed the test. Well, as we notice in the last patai, we asked the probability of a girl or somebody who failed. Those were these 3. In our last patai, it's asking you to calculate the probability that a paper belonged to a boy who passed the test. Well, that's only one left. So what we notice is that these plus that 1, they add up to 1, okay? And that was what we were looking for. The explanation is that if you were to add up all the possible outcomes in a probability tree, they must add to 1, okay? Any patai, do send them my way. Thanks for watching. Mauri mahi, mauri ora, ka kite ano.